Good evening. I have an amazing book to read to you. You've all heard the story of the three little pigs, but I bet you haven't heard the story of Halloween pigs. This book was written by Rita Balducci and illustrated by Doug Cushman. The wind was whistling through Oinky's little house of straw, blowing autumn right into his kitchen. Oinky sniffed. Apples, he sighed, and corn, and maybe a hint of pumpkin. His brother Pinky shook his head. No, sweet potatoes. Winky, the third brother, inhaled deeply and closed his eyes. I love October, he sighed. The three little pigs all took another deep breath. They could almost taste the good things they smelled. Oinky's stomach grumbled. Pinky's growled. And Winky's made such loud noises the little straw house rattled and shook. I'm hungry, Winky snorted. They were all hungry, but the big bad wolf lived nearby, and there was no telling when he might appear, huffing and puffing and making all kinds of unneighborly threats. The pigs couldn't risk a trip to the fields and the orchards. So there they were, trapped in Oinky's straw house. They were so hungry they could have eaten the walls. A knock at the door made the three little pigs jump. Trick or treat, called a soft voice. It's a trick, Pinky whispered. It's the wolf. But it wasn't the wolf, just Little Red Riding Hood with her basket. You should go trick-or-treating, she told them. You'll get lots of goodies, and if your costumes are clever enough, the wolf will never recognize you. Oinky and Pinky looked at Winky. He always made the important decisions. Winky murmured, stroking the hair on his chinny chin chin. Costumes. That night, with hearts pounding and bellies rumbling, the brothers set out. But instead of round pink pigs, three hairy wolves with scraggly tails and pointed snouts emerged from the little straw house. Hee hee hee, giggled Oinky. My costume tickles. Shh, warned Winky. I see a wolf. The wolf was tacking a sign to the tree. Halloween party at Baby Wolf's Den tonight. Lots of food. Oinky and Winky didn't need to ask Winky what they should do. The three brothers headed straight for the wolf's den. Happy Halloween, bellowed their wolf host, his yellow eyes gleaming. Come on in. Pinky, Winky, and Oinky had never seen so many wolves in their lives. There were old wolves and young pups, thin wolves and fat wolves, dancing wolves, chatting wolves, laughing wolves, and singing wolves. Look, Winky whispered to Winky and Pinky. There, in the soft glow of an enormous jack-o'-lantern, was the buffet table. Delicious smelling steam rose off of the platters of food. Maybe it was the moon. Maybe it was the music. Maybe it was just pure, unbridled piggishness. But what happened next was not a pretty sight. Sorry, cried Oinky, throwing himself in the sweet potato pie. Slurp, 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 slurped Winky, burying his snout in the creamed coin. Oink, 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 snorted Pinky, chomping on roast beef. Oh my goodness, Look at them eat. The table creaked and groaned under the weight of the three pigs. The band stopped playing as the wolves stared in shock at the sight before them. "Who are they?" Wolves murmured to one another. "Who are they? Who are they? Who are they?" Oinky, Pinky, and Winky didn't stop until they had devoured everything in sight and licked the plates as well. Their costumes were stretched tight across their fat tummies, but still they wanted more. The wolves had just begun the dunking for apples contest when the greedy trio spied the barrel full of crisp red apples. There was a mad gleam in their piggy little eyes as they dived headfirst into the barrel, splashing and kicking and sputtering as they sank their teeth into every apple floating inside. When Winky dunked Pinky's head under water in order to reach a particularly big, juicy apple, the wolves began to mutter among themselves. "How rude!" they gasped. "How rude! How rude!" Oh my, they do appear to be being a bit piggish, aren't they? Pop! The seam down the back of Winky's pants began to split. Out sprang his curly tail, but nothing would stop him now. A row of banana cream pies was laid out invitingly on another table, ready for the pie-eating contest. Oinky bounded across the floor, all his chins giggling. Jiggling. He landed on one end of the table and pies flew through the room like frisbees. Winky and Pinky leaped into the air to catch them in their mouths. "Who invited them?" the wolves huffed to one another. "Who invited them?" Boing! Oinky's belly burst through his costume, but he scarcely noticed. His snout twitched and his mouth began to water. The jack-o'-lantern was still glowing on the ransacked buffet table. The three little pigs weren't finished yet. Seeds flew as Oinky, Winky, and Pinky attacked the pumpkin. Gooey shreds of orange pumpkin pulp stuck to their fur as they feasted on the remains of a jack-o'-lantern. "Disgusting!" cried the aghast wolves. Plink! The last few stitches around Pinky's porky middle gave way. His costume was hanging by mere threads. Finally, there was no more food in sight. The pigs licked their fingers and smacked their lips. "Great party," said Winky, slapping a startled wolf on the back. Agreed Winky, picking his teeth. "What do you say we do this again next Halloween?" asked Pinky, a greedy gleam in his piggy little eyes. The wolves recoiled in horror at the suggestion. "I have an idea," cried one wolf, anxious to get away from the three strange guests. "Let's all go trick-or-treating." Yes, yes, chimed the other wolves, frantically rushing off to the door. "Let's go." "Hey, good thinking," the brothers agreed as they waddled along. "We could use some dessert." A full moon shone in a clearing in the woods. A hush fell over the wolves as they gathered in a circle and looked up. "What's the matter with them?" Winky said impatiently to Winky. "I thought we were going trick-or-treating." "It's a full moon," one exasperated wolf exclaimed. "You must know what that means." But the brothers just shrugged. "Time for a midnight snack?" said Winky, his voice full of hope. "I think they only think about eating." Let's see. The wolves ignored him. Then, in unison, they began to howl at the moon. "What a strange thing to do," the brothers exclaimed. "They could be eating instead of howling." But the pigs didn't want the wolves to figure out who they really were, so they went along with the chorus. "Oh, oh!" the wolves howled. "Oink, oink, oink, oink!" The brothers bellowed at the top of their lungs. The wolves exchanged suspicious frowns but continued howling. The song got louder and louder. The wolves and the pigs all took one last deep breath for the grand finale, and burp went the three little pigs. Rip went their costumes. Uh-oh, I think they're going to be discovered. Uh-oh, the page doesn't want to turn. The pigs' disguises all tore apart at that exact moment. There they were, three succulent, fattened little porkers surrounded by hungry wolves. Suddenly, a deep voice shouted, "Trick or treat!" "It's the huntsman! Run for your lives!" yelled the wolves, and the great huffing and puffing, they were gone. Oinky, Winky, and Pinky hiccuped in relief as the huntsman pulled back his cap to show that he was really Little Red Riding Hood. "Are you all right?" she asked her friends as they pounced on a basket of goodies. "We just need a little refreshment after our terrible ordeal," Oinky mumbled through a mouthful of chocolate. And once the candy in Little Red Riding Hood's basket was gone, the three little pigs rang wee, wee, wee all the way home. The end. Oh my goodness. I hope you remember when you get your trick-or-treat candy to take it home and show your mother first so that you don't eat too much. Bye-bye.